My name is Headmaster Vaughn. If we are being formal, it is Headmaster Vaughn of the Galactic Preparatory Institute, the most prestigious academy in this entire sector of the galaxy. For 30 cycles, I have managed students from more than 200 different species, methane breathers, silicon-based life forms, even those strange crystalline entities from the Omega Quadrant who communicate by changing colors. After 3 decades of this job, I believe I'd seen everything that I was wrong, because the human arrived on a Tuesday. And for some reason, all my problems start on Tuesdays. That morning, I was sitting in my office, calmly drinking my daily stimulant beverage while reviewing new student files. That was when my secretary burst through the communication channel. Flakes, a very efficient 6-armed Yolteran who rarely showed emotion. Headmaster Vaughn, sir, she buzzed nervously. The human transfer student has arrived for registration. I felt my secondary stomach tighten immediately. Yes, the human. Ever since Central Command informed me about the Terran Integration Initiative, I had been uneasy. Apparently, the galaxy had decided it was time to allow humans from Earth to attend our institutions. Earth out of class. 12 Death World Point, one of the most dangerous planets ever recorded, a world where almost everything is trying to kill you. And somehow, the humans evolved there. Send him in, I said, straightening my ceremonial sash and trying to appear confident. The door slid open, and the human walked in. He was not what I expected. I had prepared myself for a giant brute. Huge muscles, battle scars, perhaps missing a limb or two from whatever violent rituals their species practiced. Instead, he looked completely average. 2 arms, 2 legs, brown hair, forward-facing predator eyes, young. Maybe 17 standard cycles. He wore strange Earth clothing called jeans and a shirt with words printed on it that said, "I am not short. I'm fun-sized." I had absolutely no idea what that meant. "Good morning, Headmaster Vaughn," the human said, and then he did something unsettling. He smiled. Humans show their teeth when they smile. Why they do this, I still do not understand. There were so many teeth. "My name is Marcus Webb," he continued cheerfully. "I'm really excited to be here." I clear my throat. "Welcome to the Galactic Preparatory Institute, Marcus Webb of Earth." I pulled up his file on my holo screen. His academic results were impressive, particularly in biology and chemistry. It seemed humans had a strong interest in understanding how things break down at the molecular level. "Yes," Marcus said proudly, "we're pretty good at that." That response did not comfort me. "Now," I continued carefully, "before your enrollment is finalized, there is one rule you must understand." I leaned forward slightly. Rule number 1. The most important rule in this entire institute. The rule that has kept this academy incident-free for over 300 cycles. Marcus listened politely. No weapons are allowed on campus. I spoke slowly and clearly. No plasma rifles. No molecular disruptors. No toxic darts. No blades. No explosives. This is a place of learning, not a battlefield. Marcus nodded. "Got it. No weapons." "Excellent," I said. "Now, if you happen to have any weapons on your person, please surrender them now. They will be safely stored until your graduation." And then, the human smiled again, wider this time. "Headmaster Vaughn," Marcus said calmly, "I don't have any weapons." "None at all?" I asked. "Not a single one." He shook his head. "Nope." I should have felt relieved. I really should have. But something about the way he said it, the calm confidence in his voice, the strange smile that never reaches eyes, triggered every survival instinct I had. "Very good." I finally said, I processed his enrollment, assigned him a dormitory wing 7. And gave him his class schedule. "Classes begin tomorrow at 0800 hours, I told him. "Do not be late." Marcus stood up and gave a friendly wave. Wouldn't dream of it. Then he walked out of my office. A moment later, flakes buzzed through the communication channel again. "How did it go, sir?" I stared at the closed door for a long moment. Then I said slowly, "I believe we may have made a terrible mistake." "Sir?" "Nothing," I muttered. "Just keep the medical bay on standby and notify campus security." Actually, I paused. Double the security shifts. There was silence on the line. "Is the human really that dangerous, sir?" I thought about that smile, that calm, confident smile, and those forward-facing predator eyes. "I don't know," I admitted quietly, "and that terrifies me more than anything." Because sometimes the most dangerous predators are the ones who don't look dangerous at all, and the human had just joined my school. The next morning, I received 14 incident reports before noon. All of them involved Marcus Webb. The first incident report arrived at 8:17 in the morning. The second came 5 minutes later by noon. I had received 14 separate reports. All of them mentioned the same name, Marcus Webb. The first report came from Professor Cleth, who taught advanced combat theory. Now, Professor Cleth was not the type of teacher who panicked easily. She was a Virari, a species famous for their analytical minds and multiple sensory organs, that if anything unusual happened in her class, it meant something was very wrong. Her report began simply. Human student demonstrated highly unusual survival behavior during predator simulation. I kept reading. That was when my secondary stomach began to tighten again. The class had been running a standard survival exercise. Students entered simulation pods where they faced holographic predators from dangerous worlds. Their task was simple: survive using their species' natural advantages. Most species had some form of natural weapon: claws, venom, armor plating, energy discharge organs, things evolution had given them. The first student was Trev, a Celtari male with beautiful purple scales and retractable claws. The simulation released a sand viper. Trev handled it easily. He struck with his claws and eliminated the predator. Professor Cleth noted in her report, "Excellent technique. Good use of natural weaponry." The second student was Yenna, a morpheized shapeshifter. Her species could alter their density. When the predator lunged, Yenna simply became intangible. The creature passed straight through her. Creative, efficient, perfectly normal. Then came Marcus Webb. The simulation generated a pack of razor wolves, 0.6 of them, each weighing nearly 200 pounds, each with jaws designed to tear through bone. They were apex predators from the harsh world of Crusher. The class watched carefully. Marcus stood in the middle of the simulation field. He had no claws, and no armor, and no venom, and no natural weapons. He looked at the approaching predators. Then he bent down and picked up a rock. Professor Cleth wrote in her report. The human appeared pleased. Marcus smiled. Then he threw the rock. His arm snapped forward with shocking speed. The projectile struck the lead razor wolf directly in the eye. The creature stumbled. The other 5 wolves lunged. Most students would have run. Marcus did the opposite. He ran toward them. Gasps filled the classroom. Marcus grabbed a tree branch from the simulation environment. Actually, grab was the wrong word. According to the report, he ripped it off the tree. Then he swung it like a club point. One wolf dropped. Another lunged. Marcus shoved the branch into its throat like a spear. When the branch broke, he kept fighting. He ducked, rolled, struck again. A T1.0 wolf tackled him. Instead of panicking, Marcus wrapped his arms around the creature's neck and choked it unconscious with his bare arms. When the simulation ended, 6 razor wolves lay on the ground, all defeated. Marcus stood in the center of the field, breathing heavily. His shirt torn, simulated blood on his hands, and he was still smiling. "How did I do, Professor?" he asked. Professor Cleth paused the simulation. According to her report, she stared at him for nearly 10 seconds before speaking. "You weaponized the environment and your own body," she finally said. "I have never seen a student do that so efficiently." Marcus looked confused. Is that not normal? The entire classroom was silent. Finally, Trev raised one claw nervously. "Most species rely on their natural abilities," he said. "Our claws, our venom, our armor. You don't have any of those things." Marcus looked down at himself. "Yeah, I guess not." Then he shrugged. "But humans don't really need built-in weapons." He held up his hands. "We've got thumbs." He wiggled his fingers. Several students leaned away. "Opposable digits," Marcus explained happily. "Great for grabbing things, making tools, or choking stuff." Yenna's voice trembled. "Choking? Well, sure," Marcus said casually. "Humans are endurance predators. Back on Earth, before technology, we hunted by just following animals until they collapsed from exhaustion." The classroom went completely silent. Sometimes it took hours, Marcus continued, sometimes days. But we just keep walking, never stopping. And once the prey couldn't run anymore, he made a grabbing motion with his hands. Game over. Trev whispered quietly. That is horrifying. Marcus blinked. Really? I mean, wolves do the same thing. Kind of. But you don't look like predators, Yennis said. You're small. No clothes. No armor. Marcus shrugged again. Yeah, but we have stamina. And sweat glands. Most animals overheat when they run. Humans don't. We just keep going. Then he added something that made Professor Clef in the class early. Also, humans heal pretty fast. Break a bone? Give it a few weeks. Lose blood? We make more. Human bodies are basically designed to take damage and keep functioning. I lowered the report slowly, 0.14 incident reports in one morning. And the human had only attended 2 classes. I leaned back in my chair. For the first time in my 30-year career, I began to suspect something. Maybe the human had been telling the truth yesterday. Maybe he really didn't carry weapons because he didn't need them. And the worst part, the day wasn't even half over yet. By lunchtime, the entire academy was already talking about Marcus Webb. Word spreads fast in a school with 200 different species, especially when the story includes a human fighting off 6 predators with a rock and a stick. Some students were curious, some were impressed. But most of them were simply terrified that I decided I needed to see this situation myself. I went to observe the cafeteria during lunch period. The cafeteria at the Galactic Preparatory Institute was a massive hall designed to support many species at once, different atmospheric zones, different gravity levels, different food dispensers. Normally, it operated like a perfectly organized system. Today, it was unusually quiet because the human had just walked in. Marcus grabbed a tray and moved toward the human-compatible food section. We had done our research before his arrival. Only safe food items. Nothing toxic for humans. Fruits, vegetables, proteins, simple things that I watched as Marcus filled his tray with several items. Then I looked closer, and my stomach's twisted again. Tomatoes out of fruit so acidic it could damage certain metal alloys. Red peppers filled with capsaicin, a chemical that literally causes pain in most life forms. And something called peanut butter, which I had learned could sometimes kill humans themselves through allergic reactions. Yet they still eat it voluntarily. Marcus carried his tray to a table where several students were sitting, including Trev and Yenna from his earlier class. They stared at his food with visible concern. What is that? Trev asked, pointing at a bright red fruit. Marcus looked down. Oh, this? He picked it up and took a bite. A strawberry. Pretty common fruit on Earth. Sweet. A little sour. Really good. Yenna leaned closer, examining it carefully. It looks like a compressed internal organ, she said quietly. Marcus paused mid-chew. Okay, I guess it kind of does. He shrugged and kept eating that I noticed something else. Marcus ate quickly, efficiently, barely pausing between bites, that a feeding pattern designed to minimize vulnerability, predator behavior. After a moment, Trev spoke again. So, Marcus, I have been curious. Your planet is classified as a Class 12 Death World, one of the most dangerous environments in the galaxy. What is it like living there? I silently begged the universe for Marcus not to answer that question, but Marcus's eyes lit up with excitement. Oh man, Earth is awesome. Several nearby students slowly stopped eating. Well, okay, Marcus continued. There are some dangerous animals. We got sharks. They're fish with about 300 teeth. They've existed for hundreds of millions of years, basically unchanged because they're already perfect killing machines. Yenna's skin color slowly shifted to pale green. And bears, Marcus continued happily. They're giant mammals that weigh like 800 pounds and can still run faster than humans. And spiders. Lots of spiders. Some of them are venomous. Australia has most of the really dangerous ones. The table was completely silent now. Live there? Yenna whispered. Sure. Marcus said. You just learn to be careful. Don't swim in certain waters. Don't surprise bears. Shake your shoes before putting them on in case there's a spider inside. Basic stuff. Trev repeated weakly, basic stuff. Marcus leaned forward slightly. Honestly, the big predators aren't even the most dangerous thing. Oh no, I muttered quietly. The mosquitoes kill way more people. Mosquitoes. Yenna asked. Tiny flying insects, Marcus explained. They drink blood and spread diseases. They kill hundreds of thousands of humans every year. Yenna looked like she might faint. Your planet sounds like a nightmare. Marcus shrugged. You get used to it. Humans are adaptable. We live everywhere on Earth. Frozen tundras, hot deserts, dense jungles, high mountains. We can survive in temperatures from about -40 to 120 degrees. He laughed casually. We're basically like galactic cockroaches. Hard to kill, show up everywhere, and will eat almost anything. Several students at nearby tables were now listening carefully. But surely, Trev said nervously, you must have safe zones. Places where predators cannot reach you. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. Dude, we're the apex predators. The cafeteria went silent. Everything else is scared of us. We hunted most of the giant animals on Earth to extinction thousands of years ago. We turned wolves into dogs. We ride horses. We keep cats in our houses, even though they're tiny murder machines with knives on their feet. Marcus grinned. With the scary ones. Yenna spoke slowly. You are saying humans dominate a death world because you're more dangerous than everything else on it. Well, Marcus said that and intelligence, and tools, and teamwork. Humans are pack hunters. We work together. We plan. We communicate. That's kind of our thing. At that exact moment, Campus Security Officer Blurn approached the table. Blurn was a Thorian, a species covered in heavy armor plating strong enough to deflect small weapons fire. He rarely got involved in student conversations. But today he looked concerned. I have received reports of disturbing discussions, Blurn said slowly. Marcus looked up calmly. No problem, sir. Just talking about Earth. Blurn studied him carefully, then said something unexpected. Demonstrate your physical flexibility. Marcus blinked. What? I need to assess your species' threat level. Marcus shrugged. Okay. Then he bent backward, far backward, until his hands touched the floor behind him. Several students gasped, his spine curved in a way that looked anatomically impossible. Marcus stood up again like it was nothing. Blurn's armor plates rattled slightly at a sign of distress. Temperature tolerance? Blurn asked. Marcus thought for a moment. Comfortable range is about 65 to 75 degrees. But humans can function between -40 and 120, with the right clothing. Blurn's eyes widened. Endurance capacity? Marcus scratched his head. Running? Maybe a few hours. Walking? Basically forever if I have water and food. Blurn slowly turned his head, because I had been standing near the cafeteria entrance the entire time. Headmaster Vaughn, he said. We need to talk. I nodded grimly. Yes. Yes, we do. Because something had just become very clear to me. The problem was not that the human had broken any rules. The problem was that our rules had never been designed for humans in the first place. And unfortunately, the day was about to get much worse, because that afternoon, the human was about to meet Crothis, the Academy's most dangerous bully. The incident with Officer Blurn should have been the end of IT should have been. But the universe, apparently, enjoys watching headmasters suffer, because later that afternoon, during free period, the human met Crothis. Crothis was a Zelthorian 0.7 feet tall, covered in thick, armored scales. His species evolved on a high-gravity world where survival depended on strength and aggression. The Academy. He had a reputation. Crothis was the campus bully. He intimidated smaller species, picked fights, whenever he could, and most students were too afraid to challenge him. When Crothis first saw Marcus sitting alone in the training courtyard, he saw easy prey. I was not there for the beginning of the confrontation. But later that evening, I watched the security footage several times. While drinking something much stronger than stimulant tea, Marcus had been sitting on a bench reading from his datapad. Crothis approached slowly. You are the human, Crothis said. Marcus looked up. Yep. Marcus Webb. Nice to meet you. Crothis studied him. You do not look dangerous. Marcus shrugged. I get that a lot. My species are warriors, Crothis continued proudly. True predators. You are small, soft, weak. Marcus tilted his head slightly and studied Crothis carefully. those forward-facing eyes again. Then Crothis said the words that made my heart sink when I later heard them. I challenge you. Combat trial. Non letal. Full contact. Tomorrow. Training arena. I will prove humans are not dangerous. Just fragile mammals. Marcus thought about it for a moment. Do I have to? Crothis leaned closer. Are you scared? And then Marcus smiled. That same calm smile. Sure, Marcus said. I'll fight you. Sounds fun. Crothis laughed loudly. Yes, he said, fun for me. News spread through the academy faster than a solar flare to BY evening. Everyone knew about the fight. Students gathered in dormitories whispering about the human versus the Zelthorian warrior. Most believed Marcus would be destroyed. That I tried to cancel the match. I truly did. But unfortunately, combat trials were allowed under institute regulations. Both students had agreed. Technically, it counted as practical combat education. The next morning, the training arena filled with students, hundreds of them, some curious, some nervous, some excited. I stood in the observation deck above the arena. Beside me were Professor Clef and Officer Blurn. All of us watching carefully. Crothis entered first. 7 feet of scaled muscle. The crowd cheered. Bullies often attract followers. Marcus entered from the opposite side, in O armor, in O weapons, just simple athletic clothes that he stretched his arms, rolled his shoulders, and waved casually at the crowd. The match began. Crothis attacked immediately, and O hesitation. He charged forward like a living tank. Marcus moved, but not backward, sideways. Crothis rushed past him. The Zelthorian turned and swung a massive claw. Marcus ducked under the strike, stepped inside Crothis's reach, and punched. His fist struck between two scales, right in a vulnerable gap. Crothis grunted in pain. The crowd went silent. They circled each other. You are quick, Crothis admitted, but you cannot hurt me. My scales are too strong. Marcus nodded. Yeah, scales are great, but they don't cover everything. Crothis frowned. What? Marcus pointed. Joints, eyes, soft tissue, pressure points. He was studying Crothis, analyzing weaknesses. Like a predator, Crothis roared and charged again. This time Marcus dropped low, grabbed Crothis's leg, and twisted. The massive Zelthorian crashed to the ground. Gasps echoed through the arena. Marcus moved quickly, trying to secure a hold, but Crothis reacted fast. His powerful tail whipped around. IT struck Marcus in the ribs with a loud crack. I heard the impact from the observation deck. Marcus rolled across the arena floor, then stood up again, breathing harder now. His ribs were clearly injured, but he was still smiling. Good hit, Marcus said. The fight continued for 12 minutes. Crothis relied on strength, powerful strikes, heavy charges, but Marcus fought differently. He stayed light on his feet, constantly moving, dodging, striking weak points, using Crothis's own momentum against him. Minute by minute, something began to change. Crothis slowed down. Zelthorians were powerful, but they were built for short bursts of strength, not long fights. Marcus, however, barely seemed tired. By the 15th minute, Crothis was breathing heavily. His movements were sluggish. Marcus was still circling him. How? Crothis gasped. How are you still going? Marcus shrugged slightly. Stamina. I told you. Humans are endurance predators. We don't stop. Crothis made one last, desperate charge. Marcus stepped aside, grabbed his arm, used the momentum to throw him off balance. Then Marcus moved behind him, wrapped his arms around Crothis's neck, and locked a chokehold. Tap out, Marcus said quietly. This is over. Crothis struggled for a few seconds. Then he slapped the arena floor. The universal signal of surrender. Marcus released him immediately and stepped back. The arena was completely silent. Then Trev started clapping. Yenna joined him. Then others. Within seconds, the entire arena erupted into applause. Marcus helped Crothis stand up. You fought really well, Marcus said. That tail hit was brutal. Crothis stared at him, half impressed, half terrified. You are horrifying. Marcus smiled happily. Thanks. Apparently, he thought that was a compliment. And at that moment, I realized something truly alarming. The human had just defeated our strongest combat student, without armor, without weapons, without even breaking a rule. That evening, I called Marcus to my office because we needed to have a very serious conversation.